Dongguan, once renowned worldwide as a manufacturing powerhouse, is now undergoing a massive transformation. The sight of these empty factories seems to bear witness to their former glory, now standing in decay and overgrown with weeds. Here is Houjie in Dongguan, a place that was once filled with the joy and dreams of workers. A decade ago, this area was bustling and highly sought after. Today it stands deserted, with hundreds of storefronts shut down, creating a forlorn atmosphere. What has led this once vibrant city to its current state? Some say Dongguan's economic rise and fall both center around its manufacturing industry. The city's economic achievements were largely due to favorable policies and geographical advantages that attracted large contract factories like Foxconn, as well as numerous other major electronics, shoe, and garment manufacturing plants. Most of these factories were Taiwanese, Hong Kong, and other foreign investments, primarily oriented towards the foreign trade industry. This heavy reliance on foreign trade was key to Dongguan's status as a global manufacturing hub. Now these large factories have either relocated elsewhere or shut down completely. For instance, part of Dongguan's Foxconn moved to Zhengzhou, Henan, while others relocated to Vietnam and India. The largest shoe manufacturer in Dongguan, Yuyuan Shoe Factory, moved to Vietnam last year. The large Hong Kong-funded textile factory, Minghai Dyeing Plant, went bankrupt and closed down this year. Many factories that operated for decades have either closed or relocated, contributing to the economic decline of Dongguan. Unfortunately, as China's economic environment worsens and the foreign trade export industry decelerates, this trend continues. In just 20 days, 3 large, well-established factories in Dongguan announced closures. On November 7th, Zhongxing Electrical Appliances, a long-standing Japanese enterprise in Chaotu Town, Dongguan, announced a complete shutdown of its factory by December 31st due to plummeting orders and long-time financial deficits, making operations unsustainable. Zhongxing Electrical Appliances, a 30-year-old factory funded by Japan's Houjie Corporation, is a large-scale processing plant specializing in various electronic products such as sockets, wires, LCD panels, and gaming consoles. It once employed thousands of workers. On November 6th, the old Hong Kong enterprise Xiaoming Industrial, located in Chang'an Town, Dongguan, announced its closure. Established for 31 years and renowned in the plastic packaging industry, the closure announcement cited years of operational losses and insurmountable debts. The company is currently attempting to resolve unpaid employee wages. It was a very difficult decision to make. Public records show Xiaoming Industrial entered Guangdong in 1992, building the garden-style Xiaoming Industrial Park in Chang'an Town, Dongguan, 2 years later. The company, with over 1,000 advanced packaging equipment units, produced composite bags, vacuum-forming products, and handbags, serving retail giants like Walmart and renowned brands like Nike, Adidas, Avon, and Vinda. At its peak, Xiaoming Industrial was among China's largest comprehensive packaging enterprises, employing up to 2,000 workers. On October 20th, Dongguan Hubang Metal and Plastic Products Co. Ltd., an old factory in operation for over 30 years, announced its closure. Citing severe losses and operational difficulties, the company stated it couldn't reserve the downturn and decided to cease production in phases from October 31st to November 20th, 2023. The company, established in 1992, was once among the leading factories in the Pearl River Delta region. These 3 factories, each with over 30 years of history and thousands of workers at their peak, were true giants in the manufacturing industry. Their products were widely recognized both domestically and internationally, but now, due to recent years of heavy losses, they had no choice but to close. Guo Min, a current affairs commentator, told Radio Free Asia, quote, "Hearing about the closure of 3 large enterprises in Dongguan indicates the inevitable economic decoupling between China and Western countries. The root cause is the intensifying conflict and confrontation in the ideological realm, leading to Western distrust towards China. The closure of these powerful enterprises in Dongguan is a clear sign of the challenges faced by small and foreign trade factories. Many owners express concern that their businesses might not survive 2023. This business owner is feeling really helpless. November has been the toughest month this year. Take our company, for example. The orders we received were cut in half. I feel like the domestic market is shrinking, and with wars happening internationally, the economic situation is getting worse every day. As a manager, I should come up with some policies to get us through the even tougher months ahead. We just signed our first contract this month. The price isn't great and the profit is too low, but we have to do it, even with low profit, just to keep things moving and earn some wages. Right now, we just need to survive. We can't expect too much. This factory worker recently put up a video and said, "Our machines are completely idle. Does this mean our factory is going to close? There's hardly any work this month, and we've already had 6 days off in a row. I've never seen the workshop this quiet with hardly any work. All these machines are just sitting there, more machines than goods. There's almost no export orders, and the ports are overflowing with empty containers. This is a problem even in big ports like Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou." A fashion factory owner in Guangdong said sadly, "This year, our garment factory is done for. It's over. When I sold off my equipment one by one, threw out piles of raw materials, and sold everything to pay off debts, that's when I realized it was truly over. A lifetime of hard work gone just like that. What am I supposed to do next?" Since the global crisis triggered by the pandemic in 2020, the global economy has been significantly impacted. Major companies in Europe and America have shifted supply chains, leading to a drastic drop in overseas orders. This triggered a wave of closures primarily among low-end manufacturing factories, making it increasingly difficult for foreign trade businesses to sustain. It's reported that in 2022 alone, about 45,000 businesses in Dongguan shut down. This trend continued into 2023 with a wave of closures among smaller companies. A video from a small factory shows a worker stating that they arrived at work one day to find the factory suddenly closed. In August, several long-established Hong Kong-funded factories in dyeing, hardware and electronics sectors in Dongguan declared their shutdowns. On August 1st, Dongguan's Taiwanese-funded Prestige Furniture Co. Ltd. announced its closure due to continuous losses. 10 days later, Dongguan Xingming Garments Co. Ltd. decided to shut down due to dwindling orders. On August 15th and 18th, Hong Kong-funded Xin'an Electronics Co. Ltd. in Shenzhen and Xinmade Electronics announced their closures. Earlier on May 26th, Dongguan's 30-year-old Hong Kong-funded Minghai dyeing plant announced its closure. In the past year, numerous large factories in Dongguan have ceased operations. On August 31st, 2022, the Dongguan-based Alco Electronics, which had been in operation for 36 years, officially shut down. Established in 1987, Alco was among the first Hong Kong manufacturers to produce audio equipment in mainland China, setting up factories in Chang'an and Houjie towns of Dongguan. By 1993, the Dongguan facility employed over 8,000 staff with 30 production lines, which expanded to 46 lines and over 10,000 employees by 2004, manufacturing audio-visual equipment and laptops. According to a closure notice issued by the company, it faced severe losses for several years due to significant investments in new product transformations and the severe impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on its export-oriented business. Despite strenuous efforts, the company could not reverse its decline and decided to terminate labor contracts with all employees on August 31st. In a heart-wrenching turn of events, on December 28, 2021, Liang Weicheng, the 61-year-old chairman of Alco Group, faced with 4 years of substantial losses, ended his own life. He chose to do so at the company's first establishment in Hong Kong's Zufeng Industrial Building, after sending messages to his family regarding his final wishes. Recently, a netizen uploaded a video showing the current state of Yu Yuan Shoe Factory, once known as Dongguan's #1 factory, which now stands empty and desolate after thriving for 30 years. This Taiwanese-owned mega factory, once on par with Foxconn Technology Group in economic strength and employee count, was established in Dongguan in 1989, primarily manufacturing high-end brand sports shoes. With 2 campuses in Gaobu and Huangjiang towns employing hundreds of thousands of workers, the Gaobu campus alone occupied 50% of the town's area and exports, contributing significantly to the local economy and employment. In 2007, Ye Yuan's annual output reached several $billion, making it a behemoth in the global shoe industry. At its peak, it handled all manufacturing of running shoes for brands like Nike, Adidas, Reebok, Puma, and Asics, reportedly covering 1/3 of the world's shoe market. However, since 2012, Yuan gradually moved its operations from Dongguan to countries like Vietnam, Myanmar, and Indonesia, completely ceasing its businesses in China by 2017, leaving behind its once grand factories and facilities. Dongguan, once a global manufacturing hub, has witnessed a gradual decline with the closure and relocation of such large factories. Sadly, this decline seems irreversible. Many low-end manufacturing export companies this year are struggling, with many looking to transfer their operations or sell their machinery. Recent trends indicate a bleak future for Dongguan. On November 7th, China's Customs Administration reported that exports in October totaled $275 billion, a 6.4% decrease year-on-year, marking a continued downward trend in exports, particularly in processing trade, with both imports and exports shrinking. Industry insiders in Dongguan express a pessimistic outlook, predicting that a significant number of factories may close down from the end of this year to July of the next year. Several remaining factories, although not yet closed, are merely struggling to survive. Look at our factory's workshop. How many people are working? In such a big workshop, count how many people are there. It's so quiet. The job market is crowded, but here you can count the workers on one hand. It's too quiet. Many people have been given time off because there's no work. Only a handful of positions are still active, with a few people working. With less than a month left in the year, many factory owners in Dongguan are feeling a heightened sense of crisis, believing that the pressure to maintain the status quo has doubled. Some think that the era of competing on low prices has passed and more closures of such factories are likely in the future. A Dongguan factory with a history of over 30 years is facing a drastic reduction in orders, leading to a decision to start the Chinese New Year holidays early for production staff. Many other factories in Dongguan are forced to do the same due to a sudden drop in orders, making it difficult to sustain operations. The closure of these large factories has also dealt a devastating blow to surrounding service industries. Ms. Shen, a restaurant owner in Houjie of Dongguan, said in an interview with Radio Free Asia on November 29th that the mass closure of factories and the departure of workers have severely impacted the catering industry, leading to many restaurant closures. The impact is not limited to the catering industry, as many physical stores are feeling the effects as well. Another store on this street is clearing out. It's been a department store for several years. These might be its last few days. Look, the merchandise is almost gone. This area used to be bustling with people because of the industrial zone. Just look at all these storefronts along the road. But ever since the big factory across the street started reducing its workforce, this whole street has become quiet. It's Sunday night and there's hardly anyone shopping. Look at that factory across the street. It used to have thousands of workers, but now many have left. Apart from the service industry, the massive departure of personnel has also caused a significant drop in Dongguan's housing prices. So, why has Dongguan, once a shining cold world factory, become desolate? Industry experts analyze several reasons. Number 1, decline in orders. Influenced by the US-China trade war and the shifts of industrial chains in European and American countries, orders for export factories have decreased, leading to long-term losses and inability to maintain normal production. Number 2, withdrawal of foreign investment. With the deterioration of US-China relations and the Taiwan Strait crisis, some foreign enterprises, especially Taiwanese businesses, have withdrawn under these geopolitical influences. Number 3. Rising costs. With economic development, costs such as rent and wages in Dongguan have gradually increased, leading to higher production costs and reduced profits for factories. Labor-intensive industries like shoemaking and textiles are particularly affected, unable to bear the increased costs, forcing them to close or relocate. Number 4. Market competition. With the rise of manufacturing industries in Vietnam, Southeast Asia, and India, the competition in both domestic and international markets has intensified, putting immense competitive pressure on Dongguan's factories. Number 5. Industrial upgrading. Since 2008, Guangdong Province, where Dongguan is located, has implemented policies to replace low-end labor-intensive industries with more advanced sectors. Some businesses unable to adapt to these industrial upgrades have no choice but to close or move. Moreover, the gradual economic decoupling between Western countries and China is a significant trend that seems irreversible. It's known that building an industrial chain takes decades, even generations, but its destruction can happen in just a year. Dongguan, once a world-renowned manufacturing hub, has been left behind, leaving only dilapidated factories and empty streets, becoming a permanent scar in the hearts of countless workers and business owners.